You are not alone, for I am here with you. Though
Ladies
you're
and gentlemen,
far
can I please have your
away.
attention? I've
Hey!
just been
Come
handed an
on. No,
urgent
no.
and
No, I
horrifying
don't
news
remember the lines,
story.
man, but
And I
that's a
need
classic.
all of you
Who's it
to
by?
stop what
Ah,
you're
okay, I
doing
can tell you.
and listen.
I see. It's Michael
I'm back.
Jackson, man. It's Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Come on.
There you go. I'm bad with songs. I'm not even gonna lie. I'll just say I'll say a song and I'll be like, yeah, I like that song. Like, you don't know who that is? Nope, but I like it.
It's all good. Welcome back to another episode of the Fresh Podcast. It's your boy Delmar with.
Your boy, Master. What's up?
Where's
Crazy
the
times.
energy, man? Where's the energy? We gotta. Times are crazy, but
I think
we
that's
gotta
what it is.
refresh these people.
Times are so crazy that I'm
Gotta
drained.
drain and yeah. Now that you say that, I kind of slumped down. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of drained too.
But other than that, I mean, everything's good. Obviously still working and just getting things done. It looks like I'm sure you've heard this by now that the city's gonna basically shut down a lot of stuff again. Like some bars are closing down. Everything's getting.
Yeah, man. Fucking, you
Texas is
know,
one of the highest ones. Florida and I forgot who else.
you know.
There's more cases.
I don't. He kept trying to do his whole rollout plan, and he asked for Trump for more help, even though he's been, back at Trump a lot. And Trump was like, "Nah, fam, we good. Good luck."
Did them dirty, left them hanging.
So yeah, man, we're basically. I don't know how strict it's gonna be because cases have already just skyrocketed again. Um,
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It sucks. And, like it's gone so high that I actually know some people. Like they had gotten it.
like you personally know them, or you
Yeah, I know. Yes, one or two I definitely personally know, and other ones are from somebody I know in their family.
oh, so you haven't been in contact with the other two, have you?
No, no, I haven't been in contact with any of them.
Okay, good, good. Dang, man, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, we came. Well, at least for me, it's like came from a moment where it was like, oh yeah, people are getting it. Nobody I know directly has it yet or anything like that. And now we're
Mm,
at the point it's like, yeah, I know people that have it. So it's really weird to me.
I haven't. Hopefully, I don't get to that point. I don't know of anybody having it personally, but all
Yeah,
could have
this.
been avoided if people, you know, rewind what 4 or 5 months ago. People just shut everything down and been protesting for the right things, protesting for rent forgiveness, mortgage stoppage,
Yep.
like that. But nah, they want to protest getting a haircut and get their nails done and go to Chili's and
And
just
go to
go
work, but at the same time,
ain't
it's
go
like,
to work. Yeah,
and then to me, it's like even work. It's like you can't even do that. So
and the only thing we got was one stimulus check, which I don't think stimulated shit,
yeah,
and a shit ton of unemployment. I forget was it? I know it was above 2 million. I forget the exact number. Unemployment.
I just know it keeps climbing because it's people, more and more people, and then of course shutting things down again in certain cities and states
Yeah.
again. It's just gonna add to that, right?
And a couple places have already bankrupt. Like I know Hertz, they bankrupt.
Oh
I
yeah, they
want to
did.
say was it either J.C. Penney's or Dillard's? Which I forgot which one, but one of
I
those bankrupt.
Yeah, with those two, it's always been weird to me because I feel like I always hear that they are bankrupting, and then you don't hear an update, and I'm just like, I don't know. So maybe they did bankrupt for real this time.
Who I'm surprised they even still around because if you think about it, who
Yeah,
still go? People still go shopping, but majority of their shopping is more likely done online. So
yeah. Most people shopping has definitely shifted over to online, which is why Amazon is like making a buckets of money.
yeah, I also read I think it said in at least 5 to 10 years, Jeff Bezos could be the first trillionaire
Must
in
be
the
nice,
world. Must be.
Senor Bezos.
I mean, hell, everybody's just sitting at home still, and then everybody that is or got unemployed or whatever, it's hard for them finding a job because nobody's hiring, barely. You know.
Yeah, they're barely hiring. Yeah, I was gonna say that's one of the reasons why I like. I don't want to say I like. I appreciate. I appreciate people that try to advance humanity, like Elon Musk,
Hmm.
because yeah, he has some weird parts about him or whatever, but like the things that he's put out on the market that like actually are pretty groundbreaking, like the electric car, and he's messing with the SpaceX and all this other stuff. Like that stuff is pretty crazy.
You could tell he actually cares for humanity and advancing stuff, and it's coming from, as far as I can tell, from a good place. There's no evil intentions that I've seen ever yet.
Yeah, same here. I haven't seen anything yet either, and I think the cool thing about that, or the cool thing about him doing these things, is that he's doing it from a very educational background or with a lot of research. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And he also knows that because of the trend we're in, that things do have to change. There needs to be some kind of level of change, and he's doing it in the sense of like, yeah, it's a business at the end of the day. Anybody that has a business or anything that that wants to have food on the table, you got to have something. You got to work for something,
Hmm.
and so he got to do something to stay in business and also feed all the people underneath him. But it's really cool to see like, okay, this is what's going on. This is what we're doing. We got this electrical car. We got this rocket ship that we're trying to do and trying to explore Mars more. And he has the truck coming out. He has a bunch of different things that he works in.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, that.
overall, he
Good.
just sees it as like this is just stuff that we need to be doing anyway. Like I'm gonna do it, but I'm also gonna do it right, and I'm gonna market it right. I'm gonna be very real and upfront about it. Like when he had the demonstration of the truck and he broke the window. It's like
Hmm.
it's like it happened, and to me, it's like, oh damn, it broke the window. But to me, it didn't really change my perspective of him. It's not like I felt like he was lying about certain things. It's just like
I
as
feel
far
like that was purposely done. I feel like it was supposed to break so people could talk about it more. I think.
oh, okay. Maybe it was. I don't know. Based on the interviews and stuff like that, he says it wasn't scripted, but you never know.
Oh, okay.
You could be right. But to me, it didn't change my perspective of the whole thing. It's like, okay, big freaking deal. You're throwing a steel ball to a window. You know what I mean?
Oh, and he also
What?
has that train too, that high speed train.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I think I remember hearing about it. I just haven't heard any updates about it personally.
it works. He was it like even Stephen Colbert or somebody, they wrote in it
Oh,
all the way
nice.
down. Yeah,
I also saw the tube, not the tube, but really like the idea of how to help the congestion of LA traffic and stuff like that, the tunnels.
it's
Uh,
possible.
yeah, and it's crazy. So anyway, the reason I bring that up is because Jeff Bezos did do one thing, and he did one thing really good, which was bring online shopping to the masses. You know what I'm saying? Rather it be clothes, food, whatever.
Hmm.
And it's extremely convenient. You know what I mean? And I
Very.
get that. And I get that, but outside of that convenience, it's like I would personally like to see Bezos, do a collaboration with Musk or do something with someone with like really ambitious goals that's willing to burn money just to see if we can like push the
Well,
the envelope.
he donated 100 million to the environment. I think he donated $100 million or something. I can't remember what it was. And like,
Bezos did.
yeah, it was like a month or so ago.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's great if he's doing that. But my question is, with that same money and plus more money that he has, he could easily just make a new environmental thing. Like he can literally build a new standard for homes to help keep more energy going and lower costs and all, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like
he
think.
commits 10 billion to address climate change. Okay, not 100 million, 10 billion. That's how much he.
Okay, for
Uh,
climate change.
yeah, so
That's
that's good. That's
Yeah, that's definitely good. That's a
yeah,
lot of freaking money.
yeah.
But I still can't, with the fact that we know he may be the first trillionaire, I still feel like, why don't you create something yourself? You know what I'm saying? You have the,
Well, he did technically. Amazon.
no, create something yourself that helps humanity.
Right. No,
Yeah, I
I was
mean,
kidding.
yeah, like he's donating, whatever amount of billion to the climate change, which is very, very, very important. I think anybody that doesn't believe in it is just kind of weird because like that's actually happening. But
Climate change is weird, and it's
but
real.
but the thing about that is like he can invest that and create his own thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Just to me, it's like if you have that much amount of money, it's like yeah, you can just burn it on airplanes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm just gonna buy like 10 airplanes, 10 jets or whatever. You can do whatever you want with that money, but
Right.
I think overall, like, I think there's a bigger sense of fulfillment and respect, and you kind of staple yourself as a legendary person, and become an icon in the world by doing something like that. Like for
Hmm.
Elon Musk, I think Elon Musk is probably, as long as he doesn't do anything crazy and dumb, like dumb that would ruin his image, but I think he's gonna be remembered as like this guy launched a rocket ship and then got high on a podcast and he just rocked it. He was like a rock star. He just did it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like Jeff Bezos is like, yeah, like Jeff Bezos, I see him as the new Sam Walton, right? Like everybody knew Sam Walton, more so back in the day because of Walmart and Sam's Club. You know what I mean?
Right.
But nowadays, it's like I don't know if his legacy will live that long because of after Sam Walton, passed away or whatever. Like how the business practices change and all that stuff. I mean, you go to Walmart, and it's like it's sometimes depending on where you go and what area you're in, it feels like you're in the ghetto. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how long his legacy will last or people will remember that overall, especially with Amazon in the picture now. You know what I'm saying? And my question is Amazon going to be that next online, I guess, ghetto or whatever? You know what I mean? Is it going to be, is it going to go down the same route? And even if it did, hopefully it doesn't, but even if it did, it's like you would hope that Bezos would do something that would, I don't know, push humanity forward. You know what I mean?
You'll hope so.
Yeah.
We
I mean,
took a deep dive in that.
it always just surprises me. It just surprises me because it's like you can make money and also do really good shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can sell clothes or you can sell some technology and make money off of that too, and that's cool and all. But what is actually something that pushes us all forward? That's what always blew my mind about people that were like, billionaires, trillionaires, whatever.
Yeah.
As to like, why don't we all know all these different like challenges that countries face and cultures and races and all that stuff, and it's like, why not partner up in some weird way and make it work? But then again, there's always people that don't want to make it work because that hurts their wallet, right? It's like, oh, we live off of the fact that they're suffering. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that's the crazy part too. That's
It
just
be like that.
it
It
do
be like that.
it do be like that. But anyway,
Also, briefly, Black lives still do matter. Remember their names: Breonna Taylor, Elijah McClain, George Floyd, just name a few. Keep on fighting. It's
yep,
it's not a trend, or you know what I mean. Like it's
yeah,
not it's not just a fad. Keep the fight going.
yeah. I think it's very important. I was telling this to my friend the other day. I was telling him, I was like, this whole Black Lives Matter stuff is actually more important than I think some people uh, realize. Sometimes it's just like this whole thing about people like being in these bad situations that are not even supposed to be bad. It's just regular things sometimes, and it just becomes a big bad thing. George Floyd is just like a perfect example of that. It's just like, okay, it was like this $20 bill situation. It's like, all right, find the dude, do whatever, and just let's move on. You know what I mean? It's like it's not something that needs to become that serious. And the reason why the whole movement, at least to me, from my point of view, is important is because it represents. I think people seem to forget it represents all people of color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and the what I like about the entire movement, because it's like, okay, they're trying to get some justice and all that stuff, and it makes a lot of sense. Like this stuff should not be happening to anybody. And what I like about it is that because other people that are not black but people of color, sometimes they don't are not capable to speak the English language fluently, and I think that gives people like this sense of like, oh, I don't want to listen to you because you don't even speak well. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And with the Black Lives Matter movement, it's like everybody speaks English perfectly. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, so for those people that can't speak up as well or as fluently because it's not whatever the English language or whatever, I tell people, I was like, dude, this represents all of us. Like this is very important. Like this is like a big movement that it'll change a lot of things. It may not change as much as we want it to. That's what everybody's trying to figure out. How much will this change things? But it's definitely extremely important. You know what I'm saying? It's like definitely support it, and of course don't forget about it. And like you just said, it's not like a fad or some kind of thing that's popular to do right now. It's actually very important. It affects a lot of people's lives.
Yep.
Yeah, so I agree with you. Don't forget.
Do not forget. Moving on. Let's Mixer. Kind of know what Mixer is. Mixer is, well, was, no, still is for the next
Month, right?
about
I think it's a month.
for the next month. Yeah,
Yeah.
a streaming platform like Twitch and Facebook gaming, YouTube gaming, and such. They're shutting down. No, I'm sorry, not shutting down, but basically being absorbed by Facebook gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Came out the blue. Like,
Yeah, it seemed kind of
the,
crazy how it came
yeah,
out.
they just, was it a tweet, or I can't, I think it was a tweet. Is it a tweet or a Facebook
I
post
think there
or
was a
something?
blog. The blog followed by the tweet. I think they had some kind of like Mixer blog or something like that, or Microsoft blog,
Okay,
and then that got tweeted out. So
and
they had an official statement on their website, and that statement got tweeted out from the official accounts, and that's how people, nowadays social media is how you get most of your information anyway.
yeah,
Um,
and this
and
totally caught everybody off guard. Nobody, and when I mean nobody, I mean the partners of the Mixer platform knew,
hmm
like,
I
top
heard they
Shroud,
knew.
Ninja, and all them. Go ahead.
I, I heard they knew either 24 hours prior to that post or a week right before that post, which is still like no time really. You know what I
That
mean?
who knew?
That the partners knew.
No, when I saw
That
partners, this was completely blindsided. Nobody knew this was happening.
okay, I knew somebody that apparently had gotten an email like right before it happened.
Uh,
Um,
I don't know.
but either way, even if it was the day before or a week before, like you're talking about just a few days, like that's really out the blue. It'd be different if like, hey guys, we're probably gonna shut down, so in about 90 days, giving you guys a heads up.
Well,
Like,
here's the
yeah,
thing. The last thing they said before the shutdown is that they were committed and to fixing what the community was asking to be fixed, like bugs and stuff added, stuff changed, stuff like that.
mm-hmm,
Before them being absorbed by Facebook, they said we're this is what uh our forward direction is going to be for the time being. And I
mm-hmm.
guess what they came up with was, let's just be absorbed. It just felt like from everything that I've read and of it, it just seems they just got lazy and didn't want to keep doing it.
Yeah, and they weren't getting enough. There wasn't enough growth, like they said. I think they mentioned that in the blog or whatever.
Yeah,
They
and
were just like that.
Microsoft just probably got tired of pumping money into it. It wasn't
Yeah,
getting anywhere, and
and,
then
and
they paid all that money to Ninja and Shroud, and you know,
they didn't get an uptick in overall users and stuff like that,
I mean, they
which
did, but not to what
not
they
substantial.
projected, that what
Yeah,
they thought it was going to be. Yeah.
yeah. Um, and with that said, there's like analytics that came out. I'm not sure if you've seen them, but they're just basically saying prior to the shutdown, and this is the why, to a certain extent, it's not completely blindsided, but it is still pretty blindsided because there was stats that came out. I don't know how long ago, maybe a month or two ago,
Hmm.
and they were just showing the growth of Twitch, and they show the percentages. They show the growth of Facebook gaming, Mixer, and I think it was YouTube in relation to gaming.
Hmm.
Um, and everybody's numbers were going up. I think Twitch was the biggest ones, or if not, maybe even Facebook's, which was very odd because like their percentage was really, really high.
Hmm.
But anyway, the point is, Mixers was only like, instead of being like 50%, 100%, 200%, like some of these other platforms, it was literally like less than a percent.
Oh well.
So, so with all these people growing and Mixer heavily investing and them getting only like a 1% growth with those big investments,
It's a
it just
waste.
it didn't make sense for them. So I kind of understand that, but I did like Mixer early on, right when they transitioned from Beam to Mixer,
Oh,
because
it was Beam. I remember that. Yep.
yeah, because they did a lot of cool things that eventually other people did. Like
Yep.
YouTube ended up copying, and Twitch ended up copying. Like there were just certain things that they did. And I was like, oh man, they got it from Mixer, like because they were very forward thinking.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Like towards the end, probably didn't work out as much, and things were just kind of like maybe they ran out of resources, there wasn't enough people, or whatever the case may be. I feel bad for the partners, and I feel bad for the people working there because obviously they lost jobs.
Well,
Um,
so they gave people that were partnered the option to make a lateral, and I put in quotations, lateral move to Facebook Gaming,
mm-hmm,
and Facebook Gaming said that they would honor as best they could whatever their contracts or whatever their partnership was, you know.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so That's a good thing, but at the same time, it still sucks because your audience that you made is not going to fully jump over, right?
Yeah, you gotta transition
Look
the
at
whole
Ninja
audience.
Shroud. They had massive audience on Twitch. When they jump over to Mixer, they didn't bring the whole. They even hit like a third of, you know what I mean? Because just because they jumped, people who watch you aren't gonna jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they have
So
to load up a essentially another tab or a different platform to watch you, or a different app in some
yeah,
cases.
and people are lazy. I'm lazy. I don't like watching. I watch Shroud, but I end up watching his old, like not old, but his YouTube clips of his stream. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so as of right now, the two biggest people from Mixer is Ninja and Shroud. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know what they're going to do yet. I read that Ninja basically got $30 million, which is cool. uh,
Yep.
but
That dude got $30 million and he didn't have to complete his contract. And apparently his contract was for like 10 years.
yep. And
So he got
so
out real nice, and I think Shroud got out real nice too.
when
And
it
then the
comes
crazy
to,
part,
go ahead.
crazy part is Facebook is gonna try to like honor that too if they went over there. I think if they
Well,
go
we
there.
don't. Yeah, yeah, they're the honor as best as they can. Now Ninja don't really care where he goes. Um,
You a hater, dog.
no, it's not even. Hey, I just was never. I mean, because he plays Fortnite. To me, I'd never like Fortnite. Fortnite is so stupid to me.
Uh
And
huh.
then, just say, "Hi, my name is Ninja. I have blue hair." I don't. Yeah, whatever. Lame. Uh, no, I'm kidding. But Shroud, I hope Shroud comes back to Twitch. I actually like Shroud a lot.
Mm.
Um, I just can't see either of them honestly going to Facebook or YouTube gaming unless they offered a bag like Mixer offered the bag. But I highly doubt they'll offer that bag like Mixer did.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think Twitch will be offering them anything anytime
Oh
soon.
no! Oh no! Only
I
time
mean,
will
especially with that being said, with them just banning one of their biggest content creators on top of a few others.
tell. Yeah, and whew, this came out of nowhere too.
Yep. It came out of nowhere too. The banning of
About
Doctor Disrespect.
the doc, just straight up, just permanently banned. And we're not just talking about, oh, he may come back. No, his channel completely gone. Uh, his emotes are gone. Uh, Twitch started refunding people who subscribed to him this month their money back.
Yeah, it's
They
crazy.
just basically just wiped everything. Doctor Disrespect. I want to say he's like the biggest. Is he the biggest? Who's number one on Twitch?
I forgot who number one was because I know
It's either
Tifu
him
was.
or Tim the Tap Man. It's not Tifu. It better not be
Yeah,
Tifu.
yeah,
It
because he
can't
was
be
up there with a
Tifu.
lot of subs, bro. Tifu had a
Really?
lot of. Yeah, he had a lot of subs, and I don't know if he's still up there or not. But I'm just saying, I remember not too long ago that he was really close up there. But anyway, yeah, he's definitely one of the biggest ones. If he's not in the top 10, he might be in the top 5 actually.
Hmm.
But anyway,
Let me
that's a
see.
big crowd of people that are not gonna be going back to
He was
watch.
number three.
There you go.
So, Doctor Disrespect. So this is when was this updated? Top streamers by number of subscribers as of June 2020. So the
Hey.
so the first one is Nick Merckx. I have no idea who that is.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And Nick Merckx, yeah.
Second is Ronnie Drake.
Don't know that
Ronnie,
one.
no idea. And the third is XQC. Then it's Summit, Tim the Tap Man. A dude named TP. I don't know. So
Mm.
originally, Doctor Disrespect was number three. Now he's dropped to number 8, and it's about to just zero out his subscribers completely. But
That's crazy.
Tifu
That's
is number 14. There he is.
If I had to guess, Doctor Disrespect probably made like 100K a month.
If that, probably, bruh, come on, he probably made more because you're forgetting. Beginning of this year, he signed that massive Twitch contract to stay just on Twitch,
Yep.
right? And then you're forgetting his sponsorships. Oh, also Discord. Discord completely dropped him. They don't sponsor him no more. Uh, not G Fuel. It's like G's. His drink thing. I
Yeah.
think dropped him too. Uh, and people don't know why.
Well, it has to be something real serious.
It has to be, and
It has to be
it
something
has to
real
be
serious.
more likely sexual allegations, more because if all that
Well,
shit is
that's what's been
sparking up
going on.
again.
That's what's been going on right now with the Twitch thing, and then I guess it's like the Me Too stuff. I guess
Yeah,
I
Me
don't
Too
know.
is popping back up. Like I know in the wrestling world, it was called hashtag Speaking Out, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, in the wrestling world, people are coming out about their stories and stuff, and people have just straight up fired this wrestler named Tasha Teka. I can't something blanket. She was the first women's Impact Wrestling world champion. Just straight up fired her. They fired a lot of people, just a lot of people. I'm not going to get into wrestling because I follow that stuff too. But you know,
Yeah,
hashtag Me Too is
yeah. So that's what's been going on on
social
Twitch.
media.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Social media people have been talking about like, oh,
and
this
it's not
happened to
even
me, that
just
happened to me.
streamers. It's Twitch
Staff as
employees
well,
is
right?
yeah, Twitch staff as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a whole list of people. I saw a long list of
Oh
people
yeah,
recently.
oh yeah,
Uh,
and then you see people like Alinity as
oh
many
yeah.
things that she's done. You know what I mean? Wait, did Casey Tron? Did she get permanently banned, or was that just a couple of days from when she made that COVID joke?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see that one.
But basically, Twitch's TOS has been shit.
Terms of service, yeah.
Basically, yeah, it's been horrible. They're not consistent at all. Um, you know, you
Which
have
is
a
which
lady
is
who
which.
fed her cat literally alcohol on stream. She threw it, and then another
She
time she
threw the
threw her
cat.
cat, right? But then, you know, she won't get banned or a slap on the wrist, right? But then you
Yeah,
have like XQC, like he's scrolling down, and it was like a dick showed up. He's like, oh, you know, 2 seconds. Clearly not purposely, you know what I mean? It wasn't on
yeah,
purpose. Same thing with Pokimane. Something happened, it came up on the screen. She clearly, you know, exited out because it's not purpose. And then they get banned. And anyway, getting off topic. It's not consistent. The TOS sucks.
I agree. I don't think it's consistent, which is crazy to me because I don't, I figure some things are pretty clear. Or even if you were to do a suspension, it's like at least make sure you suspend everybody, equally and stuff. Sometimes it's like, oh no, you're not gonna get suspended. Don't worry about it. It's like, what happened here? You know what I mean?
You know, it's like a literally go back to her. It's known that she frequently is sleeping with Twitch staff. You know,
Mm,
you know that's been known for a while.
that's
It's just
crazy.
it's weird. Anyway, but getting back to Doctor Disrespect,
He
um,
had to have done something as serious with, or something super serious, like with all those things combined that we were just talking about, for him to be perma banned, and not only that,
white.
yeah, yeah, and also because all the details are the same. It's like, oh, it says it in their statements, like we have enough, evidence, blah blah blah, to for us to make the call of like removing Doctor Disrespect, and they don't say
Never
what
really
that
seen the
is.
information yet. But then you have
Yeah,
Doctor Disrespect saying Twitch has yet to notify me of why I've been suspended. You know, so be patient. But then again, if you watch his last stream that he did before his ban, his last what 8-10 minutes of the stream,
hmm,
you can visibly tell something happened. He got a text message or something that shook his core, and it's like he knew that it was his last day to be streaming. So he's playing. I don't know if he's playing like he doesn't know why he's banned, but then if you watch his last video, you could tell he knew he was done. Like you know,
yeah, something messed with him. He was just because at
something
the end he
shook him
even
to his
cussed out. He's
core.
like, "Fuck," and he's like,
Yeah.
something
Now, if you look
happened.
back at his past too, you know, he got in trouble. He had cheated with his wife at one time,
Yeah. Then he had the restroom incident.
and then he got banned for live streaming in a restroom at a TwitchCon.
Yeah.
But both times he came back just stronger. People welcomed him with open arms, you know. So whatever he did this time, whoever, keep in mind he did sign a huge contract this year too to stream just on Twitch
Yeah.
earlier this year.
So I wonder what happens to that contract too. I would assume it breaks the contract or whatever. So
Yeah, it must have something, you know, for him to get just wiped off the Twitch and made the contract null and void. You know, that's Whew, I don't
that's
know, man.
crazy.
It is
But
crazy.
yeah, when I was saying earlier about 100,000, that's like in the low end.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, even if it was 100,000 a month, I mean, think about that. It makes that's not, no people don't even make that in a year. They make it in a month.
Oof. Is that including all the donations he get, or
No,
is that
no,
just
that's
or is that
just
just
Twitch
Twitch
alone.
subs?
That's my thing is it's probably just Twitch stuff in general. Just
Stupid,
and
man.
then you add all the deals and all that stuff. So hopefully, well, first of all, hopefully it's not something crazy and stupid. That's what I'm hoping for. But something
Like
tells
you
me it
pray
probably
is not
is.
something crazy. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, yeah.
the doc, like my
Because
relationship
it
with the
hurts
doc,
everybody.
yeah, it's true.
It affects
He's
us
never been
all.
like he's never been my favorite streamer.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been between I don't like him to I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't follow him or anything, but sometimes I'll just click and watch it for a little bit, just see what he's playing, what he's talking about at most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have no hate for him or anything. I just hope, he does have a family. I'm pretty
Yep.
sure he's set for a good while on money, but you hope everything is not too crazy. I mean, if he comes out, he forces himself with a girl or is a pedophile, then
Yeah.
burn all that shit. But if it's something, you know, Twitch being jank on their TOS, it's gonna be sad.
Yeah. Which is crazy. It's just crazy. The whole situation is like, I don't know. Everybody's trying to figure out stuff, but
I kind of saw that as an opportunity, right? To what, I'm a stream like for real now because that's what 40,000 people up in the air, right? That
yep,
watches him. At the same time, I kind of felt discouraged too because you have everybody. Majority of people from Mixer are on Twitch now.
yep,
Like some went to YouTube, some went to Facebook, but majority came to
to
Twitch,
Twitch.
and it's just like, it's.
It's
Uh,
a crazy time. There's
I
so
mean,
much stuff going on.
and I'm complaining. You've been streaming longer than me, and you still haven't, hit the goal that you're trying to hit. It's
It's a
what's
it's
the
a
word I'm
long
looking for?
process. I mean, to me, it's like more about fun than anything else. I
Yeah,
think it's just a perk. I still get surprised to this day, knowing that I have subs, and every once in a while I see like a wire transfer from Twitch, and I'm
yeah.
just like, oh, that's cool. Like,
Put that extra 100 in your pocket, like, oh, sweet, cool.
yeah, yeah. It's like I didn't expect that, and it's like I don't do it just for that alone. I do it because there's people that genuinely say they
Come for
care
your
about me.
content. Yeah,
Yeah, care about me, and they see what I'm up to, and they want to see what I'm playing or what I'm doing. So I really do appreciate that. So of course, if it does blow up or it continues to grow in whatever sense, then it's like that's cool. Like it's an unexpected surprise, but I definitely welcome it. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I don't want to do it anymore and just stop cold turkey.
right.
But yeah, so talking about that kind of like leads me to one of the things I wanted to talk about today, which was basically failures.
Okay.
And to some degree, I'm sure Dr. Disrespect or a lot of these people that are transitioning from Mixer to either Facebook, YouTube, or whatever it is they're trying to decide may feel to some degree, whatever it may be, that maybe they have failed in some sense, because it's kind of like a reality check, like, oh shit, this is gone, what do I do next? And that's something I've always talked about with other gamers in general, the people that are in the gaming space or in the industry. It's like you should be thinking of plan B, C, all the way to Z, because things change all the time, and it is not easy to do that, but you should definitely have something as a backup plan, even if it's just like a small safety net that'll keep you going forward, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because I've seen some statements from people and they're just like, I don't know what to say, I'm in shock, you know I appreciate all the support, but I just don't know I need to do, or where I want to go from here is going to be real hard. And the reality is it is going to be real hard, which is why you should be
Are you
thinking
talking about the
outside the
people from
box.
Mixer?
People from Mixer or anybody that's gone banned or whatever, or any of these situations that's going on, or accusations, whatever the case may be, that leads you to not have what you already had.
And another thing too, I want to say real quick about accusations and stuff.
Hmm.
When Me Too first started, I was all for it. I was completely behind it, but I don't support it fully anymore. And that's only because, yes, I'm happy that people are getting called out for stuff that did happen, but
Hmm.
there's been a lot of stuff. There's been a whole bunch of lies and stuff I've seen. Many of guys have their lives and careers ruined by some
Yeah,
girls because they've
yeah.
lied.
Well, that's an unfortunate situation. It's kind of like when the protests are happening, right? And then you have
Hmm.
rioters and looters. It's like we
Hmm.
know that the protest or protesting what's going on with Black Lives Matter is not about rioting and looting.
Right.
There are some people that are upset and all that stuff, and we'll do that. And to some degree, it's like you kind of, what do you call it? I guess sympathize with them because it's like, man, they're upset. I mean, what do you want from them? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
at the same time, that doesn't justify it either. You know what I mean? It's not like I would. It doesn't mean I'm gonna justify like, oh yeah, they're rioting and looting, and then if a family member of mine is out there and they get beat up in the process of looting, well, that shit's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? No matter how you look at it. So we understand that that's not the purpose of these protests. And same thing with the Me Too movement. It's like, yeah, there's people that are getting called out, and in the process of that, there's gonna be somebody that's gonna be very opportunistic and also land in there and be like, oh yeah, well this happened too or whatever. Rather it be true or partially true or just false. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And get recognition for it, because I feel like that's sometimes the case. It's just people just want to get recognized, and they're like, oh yeah, I did this happened to me too, and it's like, what are you talking about? That never happened, and it
I'm
ruins it, and it also gives a bad face for the actual victims. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, like these people actually went through this shit, and you're like taking advantage
trying
of that.
to. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which is it's
Um.
just crazy to me.
Dang, I forgot what I was about to say to it, but just I want to. I have to hear both sides,
Yeah, yeah. I
and
mean,
I'm not to, and that's not me. I'm not trying to silence anybody, right? If something happened, please come forward, speak up, and you say something. All right, I want to hear the other person's side. If it happened, cool, burn them,
mm,
do whatever you need to do. But if you saying this shit and then it never happened, and then this person has proof it genuinely happened, and you try to like, I hate that so much. So
yeah.
like, I'm
It,
I'm for the Me Too movement, but at the same time, I'm not. I'm like in the middle. I'm like, I gotta hear both sides. So
I think it's just people should be more analytical, I guess, of the situation, like analyze what's going on in general. It's like it's not that, it's like, oh, what happened, and maybe some people might be like, well, you don't believe me or whatever. It's like, it's not that I don't believe you. It's just I need to know all the details. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? It's just I should be questioning everything, not just what's going on,
like
with
the whole Juicy Smouye thing.
perfect example.
Perfect
Exactly. That's
example. Listening to that, people just like justice for blah blah blah. And I'm putting it together. I'm just like, okay, Subway in Chicago at 2,
cold.
3 a.m. It's not just cold. It's a fucking polar vortex right now. It's classified during that time. It was a fucking polar vortex. 3 a.m. You're going to Subway? Come,
Mm.
and then we're getting way off point. Just going back,
The
hear
point
both
being
sides,
is,
get your
yeah,
facts before
yeah,
anything.
get the facts, and that's all it is. Again, I don't think this is not intended, or this message is not intended to make somebody feel like,
No,
man, you don't
no,
know
no,
or
no.
whatever. It's like
Right.
it's that we
Hey,
don't
hey, you
know.
know what? I don't know though. We don't know. We probably will never will. Like
Right, right.
I
That's
have yet. I don't. Well, I don't want to say yet. I have. I don't want to say the N word either. I don't have any stories of me being taken advantage of in that kind of way. So I
I
don't know,
have.
and I never will. What you have for real?
No, no,
Oh,
but I've had girls like harass
I
me
thought you
before.
said I have. Like I
No,
have. I was
no,
like, whoa. Oh, but
no. But I
so
think
I won't understand. I probably will never understand. But I'm not. I'm not trying to shut you up either. I'm not telling you to be quiet. I just have to hear both sides. So,
yeah, that's
but
really what it comes down to.
going back to failures.
Yeah. So I'm sure some of these guys feel like guys or girls, whoever, um, feel like, damn, like, you know, I'm at a I'm at the end of this road, or I'm at the end of this chapter, and I don't really have anything prepared for the next chapter. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I think what's really important about failures is like you can always look at it as like, oh man, this is a time where it just sucks. Like we're not, things are not going the way I wanted it to. We're stuck with this, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But I think what's really cool about failures, and I know some people are like, cool, there's nothing cool about failures at all. But what's really cool about failures is that it's a reminder that you don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? And that you're not perfect. And because of that, and because of the fact that you realize that you failed in some shape or form, it'll remind you that you're not perfect, which means that you have room for improvement, and
Right.
you can adjust and adapt and make the proper changes. You know what I'm saying? You should never take a failure and then be discouraged to not try again. Is basically what I'm saying. You
That
know what I
is
mean?
failure. The true definition of failure is giving up, not trying again. That's when you fail. As long as
Yeah.
you keep going, you won't fail.
Yeah, as long as you keep going, you have not dang, I just had the word. You have not let failure take over you, basically.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean that there won't be more failures down the road. There's definitely going to be failures down the road, and I think that's what people are scared of sometimes. Some people are just scared in general, like, oh man, I don't want to do that because if it come out or it's going to be embarrassing, I might fail it or whatever. And this is like, well, if you don't do it, then when are you going to do it? Or did you have plans to do that or something like that at some point? And if
Or
the
you don't know to try and to fail. That means you have to change something. You will never know what you need to do
exactly,
to work on it unless you attempt it.
yeah, you'll never know if you were even going to be successful, or if you even had a chance in whatever it is you were trying to pursue, if you didn't even try in the first place. So you're already failing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to at least try. Is basically what I'm saying. So with failures, I've always find it interesting how each person will take a failure differently, depending on how they're raised, what they've gone through, their mindset, and all those things, play a role. There's a psychological role, emotional role. There's a lot of different things that affect that. But the most important thing, in my eyes, and maybe you can share some light from any of your experiences, but to me, I've almost always noticed that no matter how many times you fail or how big the failure may be, the most important thing to know is that you acknowledge it and take accountability for it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Be like, don't be a person that failed to do something and then you try to deny it, or you try to, like, hide your face about it, like, oh no, I wasn't like that, or I was just kidding or whatever. It's like, no, 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 don't do that. Just, if you messed up, just admit you messed up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
Right.
that way you can just be like, what do I need to do to make that better? Because the sooner you accept accountability for your failures, whether it be a small one or several of them, then the sooner you can move forward. It helps you move forward. Otherwise, you won't learn. You'll repeat history, right? That's how it kind of goes. You keep doing the same thing, and you don't learn anything new because you don't want to accept, or you don't want to acknowledge what you came short up on.
Mm-hmm.
Then you end up just doing it again down the road, or you end up being scared about it, and you don't want to do it. But what do you think?
It's I don't know. It's you got to think there's different levels of failures, right?
Yeah.
There's failures in such as you attempting to go talk to a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's low tier. That's nothing. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's failure. You are going for this next position of a job.
Mm-hmm.
That's a higher failure. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I've had plenty of failures. My life is a failure, right?
No.
No, I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm
No.
kidding. Um,
But I think a lot of people do feel like that sometimes, right? Like sometimes people go through these moments and it's kind of like, man, like what the hell? Like things are just not sitting right.
well,
But
especially now during these times with the protests and riots going, and then the whole COVID stuff going,
yeah.
and you can't really go out and see her. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't because the cases are skyrocketing up again. But it's you get locked, I guess, in your own self containment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's on you. Your own failure is strictly on you. Well, I mean, some outside forces can get in your way, but it's up to you, to keep pushing through. But failure is completely in your own self.
Yeah, because that's a good point, because it's really about what you're trying to accomplish, or what it is you're trying to be successful at. And
Hmm.
that doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, like these big extravagant goals. It's just like, at that moment, like you just said earlier, you have this really low tier. Maybe you're trying to approach this girl that you're interested in, or this guy that you're interested in, whatever, and you're
Hmm.
just kind of like, oh man, like, oh, I didn't go well, or it didn't work out for me, or I just don't want to do it. You know what I mean? That's
Hmm.
like low tier level stuff. Like that's like stuff that's not gonna necessarily change your life instantly at that moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there's obviously bigger ones as well, and you're trying to make sure that you minimize them, but also understand that they're gonna come. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing. Like from people that I've talked to, and how people address their failures, it's always been interesting. I'm just like, huh, like you kind of like certain people like will step away. Like I don't always say something to them. I'm just kind of like just acknowledging what they're doing. It's like okay, you kind of just step away and try to hide from it. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
there's other people that are a little more upfront. They're like, man, I really messed that up.
yeah.
Like I need to do better next time, or I need to adjust or whatever. It's like, or I need to pay my dues for making a mistake. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's
And,
funny. Since we are talking about failures and stuff, I'm just kind of rapidly going in my head what I consider what I failed at. And it's
mm-hmm,
funny. I do consider one of my biggest failures in life is it has to do with the girl, right?
mm-hmm,
In terms of like, it wasn't me going up to a girl, hey, how you doing? Trying for like a little bit of time to saying no, right? That's like a little defeat. Move on. This is like this failure is like 5+ years of
mm,
trying. You know what I mean? When
yeah,
it was never gonna happen. So I failed myself in wasting that time where it could have been spent on something else.
right, right. You felt
So even
it made
though it did have to do with the female, I still consider that a big failure in life because I should have just stopped. You know?
right, right. You should have acknowledged that there was like maybe I don't know, maybe you can consider it as like little small failures here and there, like things weren't working the way you wanted them to or whatever, but you still kind of like clinged on to it just to see if like you can make it happen
Like
until you
me
find.
never beating you in Dead or Alive, that's a fucking failure.
Oh
But
my god.
one day,
Woo, you got a lot of failures to go through, brother. Oh my god. But but no, I mean, I think it's true like how you said like, it is a sense of like it was a mistake, right? It's like you
Mhm.
shouldn't have spent as much time. And that's what I'm talking about. Like I don't want the word failures to anybody that's listening to make it come off so strong. It's like it's basically mistakes that you've made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um and
Because think about it, or you could say, if you get into a relationship, I'm a, or no, I'm not gonna do that. You get into a relationship and then you break up with that person. You can be like, yeah, that person was a mistake. Why was that person a mistake? Is because you chose to give that person a chance. So that's your own failure. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So you can majority of the time, like the only time you can't really control your own failures is if you're working at a job and a job decides mixer, right?
Yeah.
People is streaming, everything is going good. Oh, hey, we're closing down mixer. Well, shit, everything I just spent, X amount of years working for is just gone. I feel like I failed,
Yeah. And
because that's something you can't control. And you can, and this is something that you can still bounce back from, right? It's a failure now that was out of your control. You can go to another platform, but you know deep down you're not going to get that audience. You're not going to hit your numbers. I've been seeing some numbers too. Just to jump back real quick, I was reading some Kotaku articles about
mhm.
streamers,
Mhm.
and mixer streamers was getting like at least 1,000K viewers. Have been streaming on Twitch for the past week.
Mm.
They'll barely hit like 100, 150.
Oh wow.
It's so that's something
That's
that's
a
out
hard
of,
transition. Yeah.
yeah, it's a hard transition. But like I said, that's a failure or something that was you couldn't control. You know what I mean?
Well, as you say that, I agree with you in the sense that like they didn't have control over that, right? And I'm pretty sure at some moment in time, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard this that are in that portion of the industry, which is like streaming, live streaming. People will tell you like no, man, you shouldn't do this, or go get a regular job, or do school, or find a career. You know what I mean? Those kind of conversations.
Hmm.
And so, as someone that may be listening, that maybe is part of the mixer area, is like, well, it's not a mistake because I just didn't know. It's like, yeah, but it's a mistake in the sense that there wasn't enough preparation that you could have made to some degree to expect that. Like in other words, expect that the rug's gonna get pulled underneath you
Hmm.
always because it
Hmm.
might just happen. And
Right.
that's basically what happened. So the mistake wasn't necessarily that you didn't have control over Mixer. The mistake is you weren't prepared for the rug to get pulled. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Makes
So,
sense. That's the way you put it. I mean, it's kind of like a harsher way to put it, a little
yeah,
bit, but yeah.
but having said that, with those when those mistakes happen, even if you don't see them in that particular way, you can always treat even failures. And this is really the part that I really wanted to talk about in regards to failures and mistakes or whatnot. Is that when you acknowledge them and you take accountability for your mistakes and failures,
Mhm.
and you know, actually research, like look at it. You know, some people are like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. You know, you hear those conversations, oh, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't. Let's not talk about it. It's like, no, no, you should talk about it. You should definitely analyze it, or even in some cases, get a different perspective sometimes. And
Oh, that's a big thing is analyze. Because boy, let me tell you, I analyze everything
yeah, it's very
about.
important. It's very important that you do that because, like I said, this is a part that I wanted to touch on because you can treat a mistake and a failure as an opportunity. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, oh
and
yeah,
and then what that'll help you do is it'll help you overcome that failure. It'll help you acknowledge that failure, take accountability for it, and it also help you grow as an individual. To
and it helps you like learn in the future to watch out for signs and stuff too. Like, oh, I should
exactly,
have known from this happening that this was the outcome. Like, this is where I should have like really just stopped. Stuff
yeah.
like that.
There was a moment, just to give you a little backstory. There was a moment when I was doing the professional gaming, right, and I was doing, it's like really high moment in my life in regards to the gaming portion of it, where it's like I'm playing, I'm becoming the best, and winning, getting getting good money, for playing video games, and you're on
Mhm.
TV and all this good stuff. Well, during that time, I would always I would tell my closest of friends, so it's usually like one or two people,
Mhm.
and I would always say, um, this thing is not gonna last forever. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not gonna last forever. And this is like early in the game. It's like we just got into this thing, and everything's gonna like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna be out in LA. We're gonna be in our own place. We're gonna be at the beach. And people buying cars. It's like people are doing this shit, and that's like it's crazy.
Mhm.
And to me, it's like, nah, dude. Like I'm not, because my friend would even tell me, would be like, hey man, you should buy a car too. And I was like. I'm like, nah, I'm straight, dog. I don't need to buy another. I don't need to buy a car right now. I was like, I have a decent car right now. I can live with that, and I don't need to buy another car. And it's like, no, everybody, we're gonna go to the dealership today or whatever, this and that and the other. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, again, to prevent uh, some, to help mitigate some of the mistake or some of the future failures that could potentially happen, which ended up happening, which was the show being canceled, the recession happening in 2008, and everybody was losing jobs, companies were closing down. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Not that I could predict that, but I could predict that, this specific scenario, because of the way it was at, again, recognizing some patterns, like, let's just be prepped up just in case we do lose our jobs. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's basically it. Like, that's basically what I was going through. And then when it actually did happen, yeah, it was still surprising because people still didn't know it was going to happen. But when it happened, I was like, okay, I have somewhat of a safety net right now. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be okay. I'm not. It sucks that this happened, but I'm gonna live through it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I was prepared as best as I could. But there was some people that were not prepared, and there's some people that had just bought cars, and there's some people that hadn't paid taxes. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
man. Yeah.
And I look back at those guys, and I'm just kind of like, you know, you wish you could help them, but at the same time, it's like you should, to a certain degree, as an adult, should have known better. You know what I'm saying? You should have just been like, you can blame, oh, we didn't know this was gonna happen, and they screwed us over or whatever. You can look at it in any kind of bad way as you want, but at the end of the day, you still gonna have to deal with this issue. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's the way I was looking at it back then. It's like, yeah, this sucks because I could have just done a lot more, but in some degree, I'm just like, at least I was a little bit prepared. It could have been much worse. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So
You took the steps to just in case.
yeah, it was kind of like just like an emergency line type of thing. And it's like, oh, it just so happens that I need to use the emergency line. The emergency line. Thank God I got it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's what I'm saying in these aspects, like you just pointed out, like being able to learn from these mistakes, hold yourself accountable for them, and then grow as a person and be able to, see some patterns that come out in the future. Be like, oh, okay, this person or this job or this highway, whatever it is you're doing, you can start recognizing these patterns and be like, okay, I should probably just maybe avoid this a little bit, or maybe keep this person at arm's length, and just kind of like analyze the situation. Nothing wrong with analyzing the situation. You're not
No,
being
nothing.
disrespectful to anybody.
No, because
Yeah,
you want to protect yourself first.
yeah. You want to protect yourself, and it's not just that. You're just trying to make sure that whatever you're pursuing or what you're after, or where you're at in life, that you minimize the amount of mistakes you make, because at some point you will reach a time in your life where you're just kind of like, each mistake will hurt that much more. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you know, it's unfortunate because that's how it is. That's just how time works. You know, everybody gets older. Everybody has to go through certain times in their life, and you want to make sure that you are not taking as big a risk that you would have taken when you were much younger. Which is why you hear that all the time. And I know some people will be like, "No, man, I'm willing to take a risk," and I'm not saying you shouldn't. You definitely should still take some risks,
Yeah, I
but
always take some risks. Don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, don't hold back in certain things. If you feel like you have enough data, or you have a really strong gut feeling, but on top of that you have some research to it, then yeah, definitely roll the dice every now and then. Because my question has always been like, when people tell me like, "Oh, why would you do that?" Like, my answer to that is almost always, why not? You know, like, why not do it? You know, and it's like, in some cases, yeah, they have a point. It's like, oh, you may fail, you may make a mistake here. It's like, okay, then let me just find that out for myself. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Let me do it myself just so I can learn. But I appreciate the suggestion. I appreciate the forecast of what you think might happen, and I'll prepare for that in some way or form. And hopefully, I'll be good to bounce back. But at least you've told me, I know, I acknowledge that, and it's like, but I'm gonna try this anyway, or do this or whatever.
Mhm.
So I think that's the most important thing that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned was, take your failures as an opportunity as well. Don't dwell on them too much. Just analyze whatever you did, whatever that mistake was. Even if you feel like it wasn't your fault, you can always still look at it from a different perspective and just be like, okay, I could have done that different. I could have adjusted this there, and that way, whenever that opportunity um, appears again, if it does, then you're prepared for it. It's kind of like one of the things that you said last time, Delmar, which was, there's a level of luck, right?
Mhm.
To certain, it's
That
like,
yeah, yeah.
this is a level of
Yeah,
luck.
I looked out on that situation.
Yeah. So there's a level of luck, and I partially agree. I don't know if I would say it's like that amount. I think he had said it's like kind of like 50% or whatever. But I
Mhm.
think there's a certain level of luck to it. But there's also a level of just understanding certain situations and preparing for when luck does present itself. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. So
But
that's why.
you have to do your own work to to get that better chance of getting that luck.
Absolutely. You're trying to set up for that moment. And you don't know when the moment will come,
Mhm.
because there's certain things that you don't have control over, but everything else that you're doing, obviously you have control over it. So make the
Exactly.
best of that, including failures, so that way you create new opportunities and then have a really good moment in your life that you're like, I was prepared for this moment. You know what I mean?
So what's a so I shared a what I thought it was a big failure in my life. What you got anything you want to share? What's something that you was a fail
Well, I
that
kind
you
of
think
already shared how I felt that I had failed to some degree, but I was kind of prepared with the whole
gaming?
gaming stuff, and then being on TV and stuff during those times.
Mhm.
Um, I would say I tell my friends all the time, like whenever we have like some deep discussions, I tell them like, yeah, I've messed up in the past, and they've told me to some degree that like man, it feels like you seem to know the right move to a lot of things sometimes, and I tell them, no, I don't, I really don't. It's like, it's just, I've learned from my mistakes, and I've had plenty of them, and I tell them that I'll continue to have mistakes, but I hope that those mistakes are not as big as the ones that I've had in the past. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
So, to a lot of my friends and people that may be listening to this podcast, is that's one of the things that I do personally. Like, I acknowledge that, yeah, I've had some pretty jacked up situations where I just messed up, and I'm just like, damn, like, I could have done some things better. And there's some small ones where, man, I could have done this slightly different. Like, I would even consider a mistake when, like, I met Vin Diesel. Like, I met Vin Diesel a long time ago,
Okay.
and we were playing like DOA because he was a DOA fan back in DOA 4, and I was like, oh shit, like, I didn't know this or whatever. And I happened to cross paths with him, and he was like, yeah, I want to play you. I heard you were like one of the best, if not the best, and I want to see what I got. And I was like, all right, so we played or whatever, and beat the crap out of him. He was actually pretty good though. I gotta give him credit. He was pretty good, but I
I
didn't let
beat
him
the
win.
crap out of him.
But I beat the crap out of him. And but I feel like the mistake that I made during that time, because I was I was, it was several years ago, and the thing that I consider a mistake was I wasn't.
Now,
l-
is this a big mistake or just something subtle? Because, like I said, mine was kind of big.
I mean, it also depends on the perspective of the person. I may see it as like, oh yeah, it wasn't a mistake. I don't know if it was
Fair
as
enough.
big as
Fair
big as you
enough.
may think. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm just trying to make sure it's the same,
Oh, gotcha. same,
level. You know what I
same
mean?
level. Well,
Don't
I
just leave me by myself, spilling out my heart.
Delmar likes to make mistake, guys. Oh my god! But no, this the part that I consider a mistake. Looking back at this, and again, I've seen a lot of moments like this in my life that I would consider mistakes. And I know some people would be like, "What a mistake! You're playing Vin Diesel. That should have been a successful moment." And it
Right.
was. It was a moment, but there was a portion of that where I was just like, I remember him saying. He's like, oh, we can't take pictures. I don't want to take pictures because, people don't know that I'm here right now. And I just, I don't want to be sharing that stuff right now. And I had to respect that. I was like, all right, cool.
Right.
But to counteract that, I could have built, instead of being the nonsense out of this man in the game so many times, throughout that process, I could have done or been more personable with him. I could have had more discussion with him. Yeah, we were playing video games just like you would with anybody else, and you just play and talk basically through the game and just be there. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And enjoy the moment. But the part that I felt like it was a mistake is like, oh, I should have talked with him a little bit more. I should have just asked him certain things, or I should have just been like, or maybe even assisted him. Just be like, oh yeah, maybe you should try this or whatever. And I did to a small degree, but I feel like if I had done that more, maybe we could have created some type of friendship or relationship, so that down the road we can talk and be like, hey, what do you think about this? Or, you know, maybe we can meet up at some time. I'm happy to be in the city and we can do something like that. You know what I mean? Just something that could have
You
created
could
more
have, yeah,
opportunity.
right, right.
Something that
For the
could have
future.
better, yeah, something that could have prepared me better for when luck presented itself again. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Now, granted, luck being, maybe I'll run into him again, but that has not presented itself again. But I still would have been, the smart thing to do would have been to, better prepare for that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I've experienced that many times in my life. So it's happened where I could have done, I don't know, something to push myself maybe a little further in the industry, or maybe make sure that I got more wins. In the past, here's a big one,
Okay.
where I thought,
Okay.
I consider it kind of big. Evo is Evo 2006, and I'm there to compete for DOA. DOA is there for the first time ever, and granted, I hadn't really been losing a whole lot. This is like literally the beginning of me actually like losing. And even when I did lose, I was still in the top two or top three. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But Evo, if you guys don't know, is a big fighting game championship that they have or whatever happens in Las Vegas. And I was there, and I was, it's like the big, world championship. Everybody comes here for their respective game or whatnot. And as I was there, I felt either too confident or just too young or too ignorant, whatever the case may be. Any of those would be justified, really, to me, as a mistake, because I ended up having too much of a good time in Vegas that when the finals came, well, I lost. I simply lost because I just got too drunk and had too much fun. You know,
Hmm.
and yeah, some people will be like, "Oh, you still got second place at Evo." I was like, "Yeah, that's cool," but the reality is, had I better prepared myself, had I not made the mistake of getting drunk and partying with the guys and doing all this stuff, yeah, we're in Vegas. I get it, and I don't even remember if it was my first time in Vegas. I don't think it was, but
You,
anyway,
you could have been more focused and be like, nah, I'm not gonna go
exactly.
out. I got a big day tomorrow.
Yeah, I could have been more focused and correctly prepared for that moment, but I wasn't, and even with that, I'm still surprised I got second place. But still, the point is, like, I could have had another world championship. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So to some degree, it's like, yeah, it kind of sucks, but I really don't hold it against myself too much. I just think of it as a learning experience. Again, creating it into an opportunity. Like, I should learn from that and be better prepared for that moment again. You know what I mean? So that
Right.
way, so when it came down to when it actually happened in the World Championships for the TV stuff I was doing, I was as prepared as I was gonna get. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I was like, all right, I'm not gonna make the same mistake. I want to make sure I'm prepared. I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna do this and that and the other. And then there you go. I was like, I get a World Championship. It's like, so now I learned from that experience, and that's how it should be. You know what I mean? But that was kind of big for me back then. It was kind of like, you're on there. That's what people consider like the shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's Evo.
Yeah. So I was just like, yeah, I need to learn from that experience and not repeat that down the road.
Okay.
So
Okay.
So again, make your failures into an opportunity. It's okay to have them, and you will continue. I know some people will be like, I'm not gonna make any more mistakes. I'm here to tell you, you're gonna make some.
Yeah, more
You're gonna
like.
definitely, yeah, more than likely you're gonna make some. Hopefully, you make less rather than more, and most importantly, that you learn from every single one of them. You know what I mean? Whether it be with friends or work or careers, or school, whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Working out, whatever. Just learn from it, adjust, and make the best of it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And hopefully you come out moving forward. Ahead, come out moving ahead.
That's the
That's
goal, man.
Yep. So that's basically it from me, man. Unless you want to add something to it.
Um, no, that's it.
If you have another juicy story, I mean, go ahead.
I got
Don't let me
plenty of
hold you
juicy.
back.
Nah, I mean, we got plenty of juicy stories between the both of us. I'm just not sure when we're gonna start sharing some juicy stories with the people. I'm ready. I'm ready, but I ain't gonna do it by myself. This is
Oh,
a
okay.
partner thing. This is co-op film. I
Oh,
don't
I
go
got you. I
in
got you.
unless we both going in.
I'm,
All
I'm,
right,
I'm out of lies right now. Let me know when you get an extra one.
this guy. I'm out of lies. This guy.
Well, yeah, that's it for me. Hopefully, people enjoyed the podcast. But maybe next time we'll have a guest. Who knows? I know you were talking about it last time, but
Yeah, I hit him up. I tried to get him when I was still in my game. I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, can you do a podcast like right now?" But he, of course, hit me up like 15 minutes within. So yeah,
okay,
so
yeah,
that's too late. But
that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, same with you too. It
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have to just be me.
No, I hear you. I hear you definitely. I definitely want to see if I can bring some people on board and see what they want to talk about. And just have a discussion. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, discussions is always good.
Yeah. And then for anybody that's listening, yeah, definitely hit us up on social media, or if you have questions or whatnot, just post, and hopefully we get a chance to see them, and then we'll try to talk about them on the next episode.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. That's it from me.
That's it for me, y'all. Stay safe. Wear face masks. Trump ain't shit. All the good, all the good,
All the good stuff, he says.
all the good stuff.
We'll catch y'all later.
Peace.